Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Duke, or rather Penn State Dynasty mode here in NCAA 2004, featuring probably some PlayStation 2 noises. I'm recording more gameplay while I'm recording voiceover directly behind my setup, so sorry if you can hear that in the background. Hopefully it'll add some sort of retro ambiance for you. It'll be like listening to your brother narrate his Dynasty while you sit next to him on his bed or on the couch. So we are currently playing for a national title against the Ohio State Buckeyes here, one of the best teams, if not the best team, out of the conference in the last, since we've been running the sim, essentially. But of course, we have thrown our hat into that ring, staking that claim. It is a bit of a controversial national championship because Ohio State, ranked 4th nationally in the BCS rankings, are actually ranked 2nd. So they got the pick ahead of Kansas State and Colorado State, who are ranked ahead of them, 2nd and 3rd. And so we have to just beat the team in front of us, because the Buckeyes, as you saw in the national ranks, are number one in a lot of categories. They have one of the best offenses, if not the best offense, in the entire country. And I'm sure if you're just watching, the games, eye test, you know what I mean? They probably really jumped off the screen as probably the best team in the country. Just, lost a game here and just never really recovered as far as rankings go. I think it'd be probably quicker to say that the rankings, the media probably has it wrong rather than, the team is not as good. You know what I mean? Look at that. I'm even going to bat for my Buckeyes in a virtual game, in a virtual scenario. It's not even real. I'm delusional. I'm completely delusional. So, but we have to try and beat them today as the Nittany Lions. And it's not going to be easy because they have a Heisman winner on their team and a lot of 99s and high 90s all over this roster. So it is going to be very, very difficult. Definitely our biggest test so far this season. And so now we're going to get into the gameplay here. A 3rd and 8 already in the first quarter for the Buckeyes here. Quarterback Jennings is going to drop back, look over his options, step him in the pocket, and he finds an open target who's going to walk into the end zone here. So DeMarco Jenkins able to find Jonathan Frost, and that is his first touchdown of the season. So Frost, who hasn't really done much. The receiving numbers in general for the Buckeyes are really not that impressive here. So Jennings is a 99 overall quarterback, and his numbers, he only has 2,100 yards on the season. And I didn't check too much in Ohio State's backup quarterback situation, but the highest receiver here only has 500 or so yards. So they're really not a big receiving team here this season, but we are a big rushing team here. As out in the wide open space here, it's Marion Dunbar, the running back, who gets out into open space, and he's going to make the Buckeyes defense completely pay, for their lack of defense. So we're going to get another look here. It's a direct snap immediately to Dunbar, and he just utilizes what God gave him, his legs, and is able to get an open space. Beautiful spin move, by the way. Just beautiful, beautiful spin move. Way to see the field. Way to see the field. And so the first quarter comes to an end, and we are knotted up at 7 apiece here with the Buckeyes. You could probably anticipate a close, bludgeoning game here back and forth, but it's a 3rd and 1 for the Nittany Lions here with very close inside the red zone here, and Boyer's going to try and keep it himself, and that play is going absolutely nowhere, so he gets snuffed out immediately, so that's going to make a 4th down decision here. You probably expect Fred Kirk to probably just accept the points here, but no, he's going to keep the offense on the field on a 4th and 2, and Boyer absolutely airmails this one out of the back of the end zone. He definitely had an open receiver there, and it looked like very quickly it was Casey Gibbs, maybe, I think, the senior. It's showing Derek Weiss, but it looked like an 81 to me. But either way, it's a turnover on downs, and the Buckeyes capitalized by driving back down the field, and they're going to punch it into the end zone for a touchdown. And now the Buckeyes are going to take a 7-point lead. So the weird thing about the Heisman situation with the Buckeyes here, the running back, is that their backup running back, at least listed on the roster as backup running back, has 18 touchdowns, okay? And that's way more than the Heisman winner here. So it's a bit weird here. But Bill Capers here, our strong safety, able to pick off DeMarco Jenkins, and that gives us a huge boost here late in the half. It maybe build some momentum. Not enough time to do anything with the football, but at least build a little bit of momentum. We typically win the turnover battle in our bowl games, but Ohio State's been pretty smart protecting the football up to this point. But in the second half now, very late in the 3rd quarter, neither team really striking here, and Boyer finally able to break through as he finds Tyrese Thomas in the back of the end zone. Just a connection here for the ages. We both are very well familiar with number 15 and number 86, how much they've loved to hit each other over the last couple of seasons, and that's finally going to tie the game up here. Entering the 4th quarter, man. So what can happen? What can we do? Which team is going to land on top? So in the last minute of the 4th quarter, again, both offenses being stifled here. Boyer running for his life, and he's going to get sacked, and that's going to injure Chris Boyer. He's actually going to get hurt on this play here. It's nothing serious. He just has some back spasms, and he will return, but it's the end of the game here, so a late game-winning drive is off the table, and the 4th quarter is going to end. Fred Kirk's just going to take us into the locker room, and we're going to go into overtime, baby, in the national championship game. We have overtime. So 1st and 10 for the Buckeyes. Very first play of overtime. Jennings back to pass here. Steps up in the pocket again. An awkward throw here, but it's going to be completed and in the end zone for a touchdown. As Steven Newsom, the freshman tight end for the Buckeyes, able to evade the pressure here, get the pass, and get into the end zone. And now the Buckeyes have taken a huge boost here as they have struck first here in overtime. And it's going to be very difficult for us to try and answer back. That's just how it is when you go first in overtime. It just, I don't know. To me, it seems better. I think some people would argue to go second, but either way. So Penn State here now going to try and do something here. Boyer's now healthy and is back into the game here, but he's going to fumble on this first play here. It's not the first play. I think it's the second or third play, but he's going to fumble the football, and the Buckeyes are going to land on top of it, and that is going to be your game. Ohio State is going to hold on and win the national championship, man. So, controversial pick to even be in the game in the first place, and they proved that they deserve to be here, and they win this one 21-14 in overtime. So, our first chance at glory in the national title game completely falls flat on its face as Boyer, who honestly has been pretty okay with protecting the football in a lot of aspects, at least better than what we had seen in the past, like with Keenan Handy. But regardless, it just comes up short when it matters absolutely most, man. And Ohio State, a team that, or maybe not a team, but, our defense, typically able to really generate the turnovers and create opportunities for our offense. It just was not happening in this game. Ohio State was just too good of a team protecting the football, and it completely ended up blowing up in our faces here. We really struggled in the red zone in this game here, a big difference maker as well. Just didn't do all that great on offense regardless. Just a difficult game for us. We did not play our best game here. Fred Kirk is typically a lot better in these situations, but, the atmosphere, I don't know, it just got to us, man. Ohio State was just a good team. So we head back to the hub world, and now we have a job offer from the Miami Hurricanes. It's a very enticing one here, but we already kind of took the leap to come to Penn State here. Miami's very much in a cusp type of situation. They're very close to getting over that hump here, but they just need that coach to get them there. They got a great roster. They're winning a lot of games every year. They even won the Big East, but it's just not coming together for them. So we're probably not going to take it here, but we are going to get into the rest of the video now, sending it to future me. Okay, so it's time to look at some stats, but an interesting development here. It seems like the game acknowledges kind of the wackiness in the BCS rankings. They're calling Ohio State's championship a scandal. So, are your disputed national champions? Interesting. So, even the game sort of understands that what happened with the BCS rankings was kind of BS. Because I guess, I'll show it to you guys here in the bowls here. So, if we scroll down here and find all of our top dogs, because they're here somewhere. Yeah, so like Kansas State wins the Fiesta Bowl here against Miami, who just offered us a job. I'm guessing this is why they did, because they lost to Kansas State. So, Kansas State with the 2 losses makes sense. Why they got kind of overlooked by the poll, that extra loss. I figured the Big 12 Championship would do some heavy lifting, as I mentioned, but, the second loss probably really hurts, and then Colorado State with a loss, I don't think a mid-major is going to get that benefit, especially with some other P6 teams, that are kind of there. The rankings are gone, so I don't know. I just, I guess maybe because once you look at the BCS rankings like we did, it makes sense why Ohio State was picked. But I guess, it is kind of weird that the number 4 team in the country, I would say it's just a wrong thing in the media. You know what I mean? It's kind of like we don't complain about the AP poll once the CFP poll is well out and underway. You know what I'm saying? We don't really dispute the AP poll anymore once the college football playoff rankings have been out for several weeks. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's that kind of situation, but I don't know. It's just something interesting. I didn't realize the game would acknowledge that or even had that programmed in. I think that's cool, but looking over our stats now, Chris Boyer had a bit of a nightmare bowl game situation, but still had his best season as a Nittany Lion in his final season for us here. 29 touchdowns to 13 picks. The best possible season he could have had here. Obviously decorated, won the award for it here. Donta Hines gets on the field a little bit here. Doesn't really do too much, like a game's worth of stats looks like. Maybe started a game here, but Chris Boyer mostly healthy for the season, mostly healthy. And then Marion Dunbar here has an identical season to Ohio State's running back who won the Heisman, but I don't know. It's a weird year. It's just a weird year. But overall, it didn't look like we were in the ball all that well. Clinton Hall got 5 touchdowns, but wasn't really doing a whole lot. Averaged 5 yards, only 300 yards total, 380 yards total, but averaging over 5 yards, averaging the same as Marion Dunbar. So maybe with a full season of reps here, closer to maybe 150 to 200 attempts, he probably would have numbers close to Dunbar. In receiving, okay, so this is kind of a down year receiving wise. as nobody hits that 1,000-yard mark. Tyrus Thomas fails to do it for the first time since his freshman year in his final season. Roberto Lacey, this is a better year for Roberto Lacey. It's his best year for us, and as a junior, maybe next year we can expect a huge hump to be gotten over, a huge step to be taken from Roberto Lacey here. Vic Huffman has just been a solid tight end, man. I would look up some numbers with that, you know what I mean? I don't know if he's broken any records for Penn State tight ends, but it's just a good career, man. Good career. I think they showed it, or we can see it here. Yeah, over 2,200 total career yards, 18 touchdowns. For a tight end, it's pretty good. I mean, I think that there's a future there, something. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot receiving-wise to really look at and write home about here. So Andre Weiss here, obviously in his first primary season as a starter, has a decent enough job here. Michael Mathis struggled in his first season starting here as a redshirt freshman. Alfonso Hoover, though, in his senior season, a great season. So we rotated in a lot of new guys because remember our O-line from last year pretty much cycled out, and we had to put in all these other guys. Some new, some have been here for a while, and it looks like everyone did decently well. I mean, the pancake numbers aren't nearly as high, but it looks like the sack numbers for a lot of them were at least somewhat managed. You know what I mean? So it could have been a lot worse. So we have our Bednarik and Best LB award winner. See if I can show that. I think I can. Yeah, see, look. So first team All-American, Bednarik award winner, Best LB. Yeah, LeBron Pierce, an icon. 122 total tackles, 8 sacks, 2 interceptions, 21 TFLs. I mean, he was just everywhere on the field. And Darnell Glenn didn't have a bad season either. Can't believe he's not even an All-American. I refuse to believe that there's other linebackers better. You know what I mean? Like, we have probably the best linebacking core in the entire country, and we're probably not even going to get the respect. Ernest Riley with 12 TFLs on the defensive line here. That's good for second. And the sack number here, he's also second with sacks, or tied rather, with Domingo Brainen, one of the defensive ends on the team here. So we had 3 guys really just contributing to the sack numbers before it falls off. And then interceptions, we have a few guys with 3, but not that many. Looks like overall, okay, this is what we've been doing. Like, we spread out a lot of them. So there's a lot of guys who have like a bit of interceptions. It's kind of just what we do. And then Solomon McClevey here, kicking about the same as where he was last year, a little bit worse, but overall, I mean, just decent, I guess. You know what I mean? He was a good kicker. He should have been kicking better than he was, but we'll take it because we're going to lose him as well. So now let's go to our stat rankings and see how that pans out here. Wow, man, we finished with the second offense by a lot of metrics here. Obviously second to only Ohio State, but our yards per game and passing yards per game was first in the Big Ten. So, like, as far as our conference is concerned, we were better than Ohio State. But nationally, I mean, this doesn't even make any sense. You know what I mean? So someone else has to be first then in the NCAA. So if we're first in the Big Ten in yards per game, then Ohio State can't be first nationally. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, offensive yards per game here, we were second and second. I would assume this is probably Ohio State probably leads both of those categories. But rushing yards per game, we're around 53rd. I think we've been there a few times. Middle of the pack in the Big Ten. It is what it is. Points per game, we were 15th, and we were third in the Big Ten. So there was not only Ohio State, but another team in the Big Ten was also scoring at a higher clip than we were. Passing TDs, we were first in the Big Ten, but 5th in the country. Rushing TDs, we were 39th. So even though yards per game was up to 53rd, or down to 53rd rather, we were 39th in rushing TDs, but still about the same production in the conference. So yeah, we sit about 6th in running, pretty much. First downs, we were 30th in the country here. Sacks allowed, yeah, we gave up a lot of sacks this year. We were not that good at protecting the quarterback. It kind of all, like, once you boil it down, like, not a lot of our linemen gave up a ton of sacks on their own, but once you like add them all up, it gets pretty bad. there was a lot. And Boyer actually, you know, he handled all of it this year. He didn't get injured nearly as significantly as he has in the past. So I'll take that as a win, I guess. You know, I'll take that as a win. And then red zone percentage. Okay, interesting bit here. So, yeah, I don't know. This is just gross. Our percentage wasn't great at all. We were not scoring at a very good clip in the red zone, but we were getting in there a lot. You know what I mean? Like, scoring a lot of touchdowns and field goals a lot, but just, you know, percentage-wise, the average just was not there. That's not that good. Obviously, in the bowl game, we had a terrible time in the red zone. So, and then defensively. So, defensively, we're not nearly as good as I anticipated. Our passing defense was pretty bad, actually. We weren't that good at protecting the pass, which I guess is kind of expected because our DBs kind of took a step back in this season. You know what I mean? Like, they're all decent, but, like, you know, for a team that's making a national title run, having a bunch of cornerbacks in, like, the high 70s, like, low 80s is not, like, you know, a recipe for success. But I saw a lot worse on Ohio State's roster. I promise you that. I promise you that. So points against of 14. That's kind of the big thing here, I guess. You know what I mean? That's kind of the big difference maker here. We didn't even get a lot of sacks. Normally, we're actually pretty good at getting to the quarterback a little bit. That's kind of like a good stat that we offset on the offensive line. But this year, we gave up a lot of sacks. And we weren't all that good at getting to the quarterback either. But we were still generating a lot of turnovers, a lot of takeaways for our offense here. And actually, our red zone, for the first time, I think unilaterally, is actually really good. So normally, a red zone percentage defensively is pretty bad, but we never allow that many attempts or anything. So it ends up, just kind of balancing out here. But this year, no, we actually weren't allowing a lot of offenses to score on us. And we weren't allowing a lot of offenses to even get in the red zone that much. So in the red zone, our defense was the best. But outside of that, it was kind of a mixed bag. Efficiency-wise, we were okay. So we had a lot of third downs. We took a lot of third downs, which is not good. But our percentage was at least like decent nationally. It's still in the middle of the pack in the Big Ten in all of our efficiency ratings, which isn't good. So again, just kind of a head scratching of a season. I don't see a lot to kind of hang our hat on that like instills a lot of confidence moving forward. I guess we were more disciplined this year, or about the same. I mean, that's really kind of it. Turnover wise, yeah, again, gave up a ton of turnovers. We fumbled almost the most in the conference. There's only one team that fumbled more than we did. That is terrible. Goodness gracious, man. There's a lot of concerning numbers. Can our defense save our turnover differential? They do, man. So every year this seems to happen. Our offense just gives the ball away a ton, as we saw just now in the national title game. And our defense just kind of has to bail us out. So that's kind of worked in a lot of our bowl games, even back in Fred Kirk's time with Duke. That seemed to be kind of a recipe. It's just relying on a ton of turnovers, except we turned over way more than we got at Duke. But with Penn State, we've at least been able to maintain a balanced turnover differential with how much we turn, with how much our defense gives us opportunities. But, in the BCS national title game, we didn't get that many turnovers from Ohio State. They were pretty good at protecting the football, so it didn't really help us out much. And the one turnover we had was at probably the worst possible time you could have a turnover. So that's why things didn't end all that well for us. But let's take a look at our conference standings, of course. So we sit atop, of course, as Big Ten champs here, but Ohio State are your national champs, so I hate that. I hate seeing that. Even as a Buckeye fan, I hate seeing that. Illinois has a pretty good season. They actually put something together here, finished 10-3, finished 6-2 in conference. So they were actually kind of in the running for it. We don't play Illinois in our conference schedule, so Ohio State was really the only kind of rock in their way, I think. Wisconsin also puts together a great season at 10-3. One of our big victories on the year was against Wisconsin. Michigan plays the extra game and also gets the bowl game, so they finished with 14 games played. Kind of weird to see here, but again, kind of a down year for Michigan, man, just hovering around 500. Purdue, another 7-6, 6-7 type season for them. Iowa falls apart kind of towards the end of the year here, finished 7-6. Again, they were ranked when we played them and then finished not well. And then it's a steep fall off at the bottom here. Northwestern once again 3-9. Michigan State also once again hanging around 3-9. Minnesota also falls off after a terrible year in conference, finishing 4-8. And then Indiana finally goes winless in conference. I think they won a single game last year, and this year they went winless and only grabbed a single win on the year. I'm very curious. I guess since we have the time, why not? Let's just look and see what Indiana's schedule even was. You know what I mean? It's just fun. Why not? We got the time. Let's go for it. I mean, we don't. The last video was really long, and you guys probably like, dude, stop. Make these shorter. I'm sorry. So they played Notre Dame and got beat pretty badly. They beat Kentucky, though, at the SEC, so they do have a P6 win. I figured this would only be an FCS game, but no. Blown out by Oklahoma. Lost to Middle Tennessee State. That's a bad one. That's a bad one out of the mid-majors. Lost to Michigan, of course, here. Lost to Michigan State. Lost to Northwestern. Yeah, they didn't win at least like one or two of these games. They were definitely, you know what I mean? Oh, my God, 65-0 to Ohio State. Yeah, lost bad to Minnesota, who wasn't good either. Lost to Illinois. Lost to us. Lost to Purdue. Yeah, that was just a bad year. That's just a bad year. A bad year for Indiana. Not great. I don't know if it's going to get a whole lot better for them either. So we're going to move on ahead now into our off-season festivities and finally get moving with this video here. I'm going to try and keep it, I don't know. We know it's not going to be that short, but it's always wishful thinking, right? Always wishful thinking. So we're going to be losing a lot of guys, or at least we should be. That's what I'm anticipating. So, oh, wow, Mario Dunbar is looking to leave now. He's only a sophomore, so I would assume this is probably a transfer thing. You'd think, right? I don't think he can graduate early, but he's looking to leave, and that'd be a huge blow to us, actually. He's not even leaning all that close to staying, but that would be a huge blow to our rushing attack because we're also losing Clint Hall, who's our senior, as well as every quarterback on the roster. So we're not going to have anything in the backfield heading into recruiting. And, I mean, it's not super difficult to recruit, like, new quarterbacks and running backs, but to replace, the 87 overall production at running back and the 86, as well as a 95 overall quarterback and an 83 overall backup, like, I don't know if that's possible. So it might be a huge... I mentioned last video that it might be kind of transitional in this season that we're heading into, but I didn't think it would be this bad. So this is actually kind of concerning. It's really kind of concerning. Receiving-wise, of course we're losing Tyrus Thomas because he's graduating, but outside of that, I mean, we have the depth there, so I'm not worried about the future at receiver. Same with tight end. I think we're okay. There's not like a lot behind Vic Huffman and Blair White. Losing both of them is kind of a huge blow, but I still think we'll be somewhat all right there. And then we're losing Alfonso Hoover here, who started for us at right tackle, obviously. Losing Tim Crocker, another offensive lineman here. Deshaun Mitchell. We're also losing Ernest Riley on the defensive line's gone. So is Alan Underwood. But we've been loaded at defensive tackle for several years. But again, we're losing 3 of them, man. Everyone's kind of leaving at once. It's kind of the big thing. Obviously, our 2 big linebackers are also gone. Yeah, dude, this is going to be... and then strong safety, too. We're going to have to figure something out there as well because we don't have anybody behind Bubba Capers. I tried last year and couldn't get it to work. So, yeah, this is huge. So we're losing, again, all of our top contributors, which is kind of the situation last year, but it's just everyone's leaving in bunches, man. So there's full position groups that we're going to have to fully focus on. So I think the line should still have the depth. I don't think we need to focus too badly on replacing a lot of pieces there. The defensive line should still have at least 1 or 2 guys there, but we're probably going to need to at least supplement it with something. The linebacking core might need a little bit of help. I think the DB core is going to be fine. It just needs to get better. That just needs to take a year or so. But we need a new safety. We're going to need a new kicker as well. We need new quarterbacks. We need new running backs now. So, yeah, this is going to be tough. Let's see what I can do. I'm not the most high on it, but we'll see what I can do. Okay, guys, things started really scary, but they got better, and I think we came together on it, okay? So, first of all, we got to look at this class because it is loaded. We got the number 3 strong safety in the country here. Finally was able to get a 5-star. The game finally gave me one that wanted to come here that wasn't on the other end of the world here. They came out of Ohio, so I was able to grab him. And then we got a new quarterback here, the 4th quarterback in the country. We will look at the other ones because, believe me, we were in on him. But he's also out of Ohio, and we were able to grab him. Got 2 5-star tight ends, one out of North Carolina, one out of Louisiana. Lamar Lambert, what a name. Lambert. And then Terry Harper, the number 1 and number 2 tight end in the country, both now on your Penn State Nittany Lions. We also got the number 2 kicker in the country, in Amari Maddox, who I think decided to just come here. I don't know. That's a weird one. I'm pretty sure I couldn't get him. Like, I couldn't find anything that he wanted, and then finally I threw playing time. I think because we already had a kicker on the roster, it, took away points from him, but he still decided to come here. I don't know. So, sure, we'll take him. Also got a new 5-star receiver. We actually did need to recruit a receiver because losing the 2 that we had kind of made us a little bit thin at the position group. So I did need to get at least 1 more receiver, and so I did get one in Dan Pace, the 4th receiver in the country. Also got the number 3 quarterback in the country in Sean Odom. He decided to come here as well. Got another tackle, the number 2 tackle in the country. He's coming. Got another 5-star receiver in Edwin Mathis. Got another 5-star linebacker, 2-star, number 2 ranked, the 5. Let me just start over. 5-star, number 2 ranked middle linebacker in the country out of Ohio. He's also coming here. We needed to completely rebuild middle linebacker. We didn't have a single one on the roster following the departure of LeBron Beers and, of course, Darnell Glenn. So we needed a full replacement there. And then we also got another quarterback. So if you're worried about the quarterback position, don't. Don't. The number 2, number 3, and number 4 quarterbacks are now all on the roster. And that's not it. There's still more to come. We also got another outside linebacker here. I didn't know if we could get all the middle linebacking positions that we needed. So I'm like, let me just load up at the outside, and then maybe we could figure something out. And there was this prospect from Canada, 5-star prospect that wanted to come here. And so I threw points at him, and he decided to come. And then we also got a 4-star defensive tackle. We needed a little bit of depth there as well, following all that we lost there. Got another 4-star quarterback, the 10th ranked quarterback. He was out of Pennsylvania, so I decided to throw points at him just in case we didn't get any of our 5-stars, but of course we got all of them. Well, I won't say all. We'll look. Got another 4-star tight end, again, in case we didn't get the 5 stars, and he decided to come as well. Got another running back here since we lost 2 very good running backs. We need to at least replace some of that production, so I don't think Mike Smith will probably slide into the role in the near or immediate future here, but he'll at least be on the roster. Scotty Patrick, a JUCO transfer, a defensive tackle. He might stick around, he might not. Bobby Franklin got another cornerback, just 4-star. Need to keep loading the talent where we can on the roster. Another linebacker here, Michael Valentine. He's a transfer, so he'll sit somewhere on the roster as well. Another quarterback, the 23rd ranked quarterback, also out of Pennsylvania, so I grabbed him. I got a 4-star guard. I ended up loading up on a ton of 4-stars at some point in this just because I had so many 5-stars in front of us that, the chance that we don't grab them, you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, well, let me just load up on a bunch of 4-stars and see if we can at least keep talent coming to the roster. Got another linebacker here and another 4-star quarterback. And in case you notice, man, the recruiting assistance hasn't really been doing much for us at this stage here. This is all me, like this whole class. This is all these guys that I targeted. So now we are going to look at what we lost because we did lose a couple, okay? So the number 1 quarterback in the country did want to come here. We were in on him a little bit. I couldn't sway him any one way or the other. He ends up going to Arizona State, who has actually been pretty good. I think they're coming off a Pac-10 championship season. So Arizona State's going to put things together, and they grabbed the top quarterback in the country, James Penn. Would have been funny if James Penn went to Penn State, but oh well. The storylines. And then this 5-star center, the number 1 center in the country out of Minnesota, he also wanted to come here. I could not grab him. He ends up going to Colorado State. So Colorado State continues to load their roster with some very impressive talent here. Those are the 2 big ones. There aren't really any other big ones that I lost out on. There's a couple 4-stars that I was in on that I ended up kind of losing. Like I threw points at this 4-star linebacker who ends up going to Toledo. Not like a huge loss or anything crazy like that, but I think that's about it. We got damn near everyone else. We did. Out of those 3 guys, we got everyone else that I targeted, man. So it was a loaded recruiting thing. I was back and forth with a lot of recruits. I told you guys, I pointed them out, like James Penn, and of course that kicker, and I ended up still just getting most of them. So we for sure have to have the top class in the country. Yeah, we do. Of course we do. 12 5-stars and 13 4-stars, dude. That is just, like, we are set up for the next decade. That's a decade amount of success here. This is the best recruiting class I think I've ever had playing this game. I mean, we had some great ones at Alabama, but, I mean, this is the first one where I've actually, like, had to fight to get, like, a lot of production in a lot of places and actually replace, like, a lot of positions groups, and I was able to do that, and like in stride. So half the guys that I got will probably end up getting cut. I mean, there's guys on the roster right now that'll probably get cut. I mean, that's just, we haven't even got to training yet, so who knows? I thought this would be transitional. We'll see, though. We might have a pretty damn good roster here heading into next year. So we also have Rice sitting behind us here. They went 13-1, back to prominence, man. Rice is back on their stuff, and a great class from them as well. So we might be seeing Rice at the end of the year. Who knows? Colorado State also up here again, man, with 10 5-stars. Goodness gracious, man. So Colorado State will be back. They lost to Air Force last season, which I think lost them the Mountain West and ultimately derailed their season entirely, but we could probably expect to see them once again. So Virginia Tech still to the Big East here, finished a great season last year and just kind of, I don't know, at the bottom of this dog pile at the top that we saw. Probably deserved a little bit longer of a look last season, storied program like Virginia Tech, but they're sitting here at 4. Western Michigan out of the MAC, another great year, but they did not win the MAC last year. I'm pretty sure Toledo did, but the Western Michigan's trying. They're certainly trying to put something together here. North Texas, we didn't forget about them, only lost a single game here, which kind of derails the season. I guess they did lose a game in conference, but it didn't have any sort of implications on the Sun Belt Championship, so they are okay there. Miami, who just offered us a job here, they're at 7, so whoever they got to be coach of the Hurricanes is still doing fine with that program. USC throwing their hat into the ring here, finally starting to build something here, put something together. Kansas State, who was maybe the should have been championship team here, or should have been had a shot at it, they come in at 9th, so they should still be pretty good here. West Virginia didn't win it this year, but won it last year, the year before. They come in with a 2-loss season here out of the Big East, so kind of a rough year for them, trying to bounce back here. Air Force, who did win the Mountain West, as I stated here, but did lose 2 games, so they didn't really get to reach the heights that they were probably hoping for. They also lost a conference game somewhere along the way. NC State kind of put something together here, won the ACC out of nowhere. The ACC is starting to kind of flip on its head a little bit. I think I saw Florida State finish 3-9, so the ACC is starting to kind of flip-flop a little bit. UCLA here was good. a year or two ago. Remember, we played them in the Rose Bowl, but kind of a down year for them. Same with Wake Forest, who was also really good just a couple seasons ago, kind of having a bit of a down year. South Carolina, we mentioned, I think, last year, they were really putting all their eggs in the basket recruiting-wise, and it really paid off here. They had a great season, won the SEC, undefeated in conference play, so good year for South Carolina. But then Auburn, who was the other good team in the SEC a couple years ago, they completely kind of fall off here. Northern Illinois, still a good season for them. New Mexico State, still doing very well, recruiting and just, performance-wise. Toledo, the MAC winner, they're sitting here in the top 25. Washington might be a force in the Pac-10 you got to watch out for. Fresno State's pretty much the only other team in the WAC that's fighting with Rice at this point, at this stage in the game. Tulane out of the Conference USA is interesting. They're getting up here a little bit. Wisconsin, so we finally have another Big Ten team inside the top 25, which reminds me, we have not seen the Buckeyes yet. Where are the Buckeyes? Interesting. Duke, here in the top 25, they had a great year, so they bounced back after kind of a down year last year. They finished 8-4 in the regular schedule, but kind of turned things around here with another 10-win season. So that prestige is still sitting at 4, though. So it's really hard in the independents, man. It's really difficult. Texas, out of the Big 12, they've kind of been a little bit dormant, a little bit quiet the last couple of years, but they round out our top 25. And we have Miami of Ohio at 26, but where on earth are the Buckeyes? Even Illinois. So Illinois is at 27th, so we might see the Fighting Illini start to be a little bit of a bigger force in the Big Ten as well. Where on earth? So they're at 32nd. Ohio State is a huge down year in recruiting, man. This might be massive for the future of the Buckeyes program, at least as far as this dynasty is concerned, man, because this is not good. They still have a lot of great things on that roster, I'm sure of it. So it's not like a huge concern, but I mean, in the coming years, that might be massive. That might be pretty huge, man. Sandwiched by UCF and Cincinnati, who's been like the perennial Conference USA champions ever since we denied them at Duke. Cincinnati's just been running things in Conference USA. So whoever they got to be coach at Cincinnati has figured it out for the Bearcats. So yeah, around Akron and Cincinnati. Remember, Miami of Ohio was higher, so Ohio State wasn't even recruiting that well in their own state, dude. And we took a lot of 5-stars from Ohio, so kind of a difficult year for them, man. Kind of a really difficult year. So despite Arizona State grabbing that quarterback that we wanted, James Penn, that was only one of 2 5-stars they got. They're at 36. So I know I'm spending a lot of time recruiting. I don't know. I enjoy this game. I enjoy the game. Sorry. Again, I'm going to try and look for the rest of the Big Ten if we can find them. Iowa's at 59th, and Michigan's right behind them at 60th. Kind of about what to expect from those teams, from those programs. Going to keep on looking here. Scrolling further down the list, we can find anyone else. Eesh, Purdue here at 82nd. You're by Idaho. You don't really want to be around Idaho in any sort of conversation, especially if you're in the P6. SMU, who went winless last year, they're 87th, so might be a little bit better. They got a bunch of 1-stars, so they might actually be decent this year. Who knows? Yeah, here's Florida State, like I said. Florida State's on the downturn. I guess they've been bad for a while. Michigan State at 92nd. Not great here. Not really going to turn the program around all that much. Outside of the top 100 now. Yeesh, not good, man. Minnesota's at 104. God. Where are the rest? Northwestern's at 112. Oh, geez. And Indiana's at 114, man. Just a couple spots from being last. But a couple Big 12 teams take up the bottom spot, so I guess we could be them. Iowa State completely falling on their face. That's kind of weird. And Boise State's down here, too. Boise State struggles to recruit. It's really hard to recruit in that part of the country. I don't know why. The game doesn't really respect FCS at all. So, the fact that, the Midwest has been an absolute hotbed for talent for a lot of programs just at the FCS level doesn't really matter in this game. So, there's just nothing there. But we're going to get into training now and see exactly what the roster is looking like. Perhaps you don't have to worry about center too much here because Michael Mathis in his sophomore season is making the strong case to anchor down that offensive line here with an 88 overall ranking now. So that'll be interesting to see here. Deshaun Dorsey, man, he really puts in the work in the weight room, gets up to a 91 overall here. Derek Wise, a junior who we brought in, up to an 89. Conrad Barker, up to an 85 as a sophomore, man. We just got him, and he's already up to an 85. LJ Jacobs up to an 85 on the offensive line. Same with Simeon Rich in his senior season. Stanley Hardy up to an 84 as a senior. Lynn Reyes, another 84 center here, another 80-plus overall center. So looks like our center position took a huge boost this season. Ruben Gonzalez even tried to take a big leap here at 69 overall, but it's probably not going to work out for him. Hakeem Gary up to an 86 as a junior. Andre Weiss up to an 86 also as a junior here. Alex Sharp. So the offensive line should be consistent across the board. We shouldn't have to worry too much there. Same with the linebacking core. Oh my goodness, Otis Hess up to an 97 as a senior. And then Lester Moore up to a 91 as a junior. Phil Morris up to an 87 on the defensive end. Roberto Lacey up to an 85. So we're going to have a lot more. Yeah, this is going to be another interesting breakdowns because there's a lot of underclassmen. You're seeing a lot of sophomores and juniors, but there's also still some core guys entering that senior season that we've kind of been, I don't want to say taken for granted, but I mean, just forgetting that they've just been sitting here this whole time. So it's going to be interesting to see how the position groups kind of stack up here. So Greg Blanchard up to a 90 here. Yeah, we got a lot of enticing numbers here. Looks like Keon Samuels might be the top back. I don't know. I haven't seen another one. There might be someone further down with a higher overall that just didn't get nearly as big of a boost here. It looks like the cornerback room is going to be pretty good, though. Yeah, we got Jeff Doyle up to an 81, so yeah, I didn't think we could full on replace the production at running back, but I think we could get close. So we'll get into the depth chart because I think I'm going to have to cut a lot of guys. So we're going to skip right to the depth chart, and then we'll see exactly what kind of roster we're dealing with here. Okay, so cutting was a little bit difficult because we have so many quarterbacks on the roster, but they're all around the same overall. So I didn't want to cut any of our new quarterbacks that we just brought in because I'd rather redshirt half of them and see, who develops next year in training and who doesn't, and then make those cuts then, you know what I mean, versus some of the line, offensive, defensive line positions that we're loaded at, that we could probably replace in a season of recruiting, you know what I mean, so, but we'll go through the quarterback position now. So Zach Magruder's listed as our starter as a freshman here. He's got 76 speed, so it looks like he is a bit of a scrambler, but Derek Bridges behind him is also an 82, and then, of course, we have Sandy Milligan, another freshman who just brought in an 81, so any one of these guys could probably start for us. It wouldn't be a problem. So of course we're going to look at the throw power and accuracy and see exactly who's the best option. So Derek Bridges is the much better quarterback in terms of like arm talent. And then Sandy Milligan's not terrible either. He's the most accurate of the three of them, but his arm is a little bit closer to Magruder's. But most powerful arm and like most accurate as far as the bounce goes is Derek Bridges. So I think we're actually going to go with Bridges as our starting quarterback. I like scramblers, but I don't think that's like really a huge part of our game plan. So I'm going to rock with Derek Bridges as our starting quarterback. And then I honestly kind of want to put Sandy Milligan second string because, again, as far as like the arm talent goes, like I kind of love that accuracy for Sandy McMillan. He's even got a little bit better arm than Magruder does. So, yeah, I'm actually going to put Sandy Milligan as our second string, and we're going to bump Magruder down to third string. So that's how the quarterback depth chart is going to go here. So I think we're good here. So we're going to rely a little bit more on the arm talent versus the athleticism of Zach Magruder. So, but we'll see a little bit of Magruder in the coming years, and then everyone else, because I think there's still three more quarterbacks, 80 overall, behind these guys. They'll probably get redshirted, and we'll see exactly who takes the jump here and demands that starting position in the next offseason, basically. Keon Samuels is our starting running back at an 83, but Dallas Vinson, the fullback, is making a claim, and we might start him at running back. He's at 85 speed, which I like a lot more than Keon Samuels' 76 speed, and so I think we are going to make that switch here. I'm going to put Dallas Vinson as our starting running back as a fullback. Man, this is vintage football, man. Vintage football. Oh yeah, we're going to have a fullback starting for us at running back, man. That's gross. It does seem like it's some Penn State stuff, though. It really does. And what was that guy they had? Was it Warren? Was that his name in the last couple seasons, man? He was kind of like a Swiss Army man. He played like tight end, receiver, fullback. You know what I mean? Like maybe Dallas Vinson's our guy. Who knows? But we can do that because we have Reuben Graham at an 86 starting at fullback. And for some reason, Vincent's a 77 in his own position. So position swaps aren't in this game. I think that starts in NCAA04. So in that world, we would just swap. But it's fine here. It's the same effect. Even in NCAA05, you can just start guys at different positions. So the mechanic doesn't really make a ton of sense. But and Derek Wise, our starting receiver, at an 89 at a junior. Roberto Lacey is a senior at 85, so we will be losing him. Julius Winborn's up to an 80. Remember, he was our big get from Michigan last season in the offseason, and he's up to an 80 now as a sophomore. And then Dan Pace, our freshman, is also up to an 80, one of our blue chips that we brought in. And then Edwin Mathis, another one, up to a 77. So receiving core is looking solid, man. Looking great. Hakeem Gary, as a junior, is up to an 86. And, of course, we have some good talent, young talent behind him and what we just brought in the offseason. So we'll be good at tight end moving forward. Andre Weiss is going to once again start at left tackle at an 86. Simeon Rich is going to start once again at left guard at an 85. Michael Mathis is going to start at center at an 88 as a sophomore. So our offensive line is young and it's getting good, man. In a couple seasons, this is going to be the best unit in all of college football. I mean, it is. Everyone's going to be close to a 90 or above it as juniors and seniors, and this is going to be the best unit in all of college football. Isaiah Moultrie up to an 84 as a right guard, and then L.J. Jacobs up to an 85 as a right tackle. So Alex Sharp is also here. They're both sophomores, so I don't think we're going to lose a lot. Alex Sharp is a little bit faster. Their strength is the same. I'm kind of curious. I want to see Let's see here. Yeah, so, okay, so pass blocking, LJ Jacobs is a little bit better, and then Alex Sharp's a little bit better at run blocking. So it's about the same here, but I think the pass block is what we really want. So it really, I mean, these guys are one and the same. So it'd be a rotational thing, if anything. On the defensive line, however, Domingo Brandon, we also have Ken Milligan sitting right behind him at an 81. So again, more options at the same positions than Phil Morris, up to an 87 on the right side, and the Milligan also. So he's going to be kind of like the third pass rusher. We'll slot him in different formations and whatnot. Otis Hess up to a 97, probably the best player on the team, I think. I think it's the highest overall on the team. Greg Blanchard's still sitting behind him at a 90 overall. Matt Pearson, we just brought in up to an 80. And then Scotty Patrick, a junior, who I think we might have also just brought in. I think he was the transfer, up to an 80. So, but once again, we're loaded. Defensive tackle, not worried about it. Linebacking core is going to be the big one. So Keenan West is still here, up to an 85. On the left side, Tyrell Wiley, who we just brought in, up to an 82 in the middle, which will work. That'll be fine. And then Deshaun Dorsey up to a 91 on the right side. So looks like Conrad Barker's kind of the odd guy out. He's not good enough at middle linebacker to start. So, yeah, again, we might be subbing a lot, guys. We might be subbing quite a lot. We've got the talent everywhere. We might be subbing a lot. Stanley Hardy up to an 84 as a senior, and then Steve McDonald up to an 82. So we actually have like a pretty decent 1-2 punch at cornerback for like the first time, I feel. Calaturn up to an 81, and then it kind of starts to fall off a little bit at the bottom, but we at least have 3 solid options at the top in cornerback, so even barring injury, we should be okay. Lester Moore up to a 91, and then even Keenan Greer up to an 80 behind him. So we are completely fine at free safety for the foreseeable future. And then Wes White up to a 79. We just brought in. He was our big top recruit here that we just got. He's up to a 79. He will start for us. Then Ruben Gonzalez up to a 69. Probably will never see the field, but... And then our new kicker, Amari Maddox, up to a 75. That's what we're going to be kicking with. Of course, punter as well. So we don't even really have like a lot of position groups that like are all that we have to worry about. The defensive line is going to be, we're going to lose a couple guys, but we actually finally have like a good young roster. So outside of like maybe a handful of seniors, that's all I'm seeing, guys. We're starting freshmen and sophomores all over this roster. So this actually... I think it's good enough to still compete, so I think we should be okay, like, as far as this year goes. I think still winning the Big Ten is on the table completely, but... on top of that, for the foreseeable future, like, we're in a good position, guys. Like, we're in a good spot. So, yeah, we'll see, man. We will see. Because if not this year, then next year, 1,000%. Like, 1,000%. And since we lost the first one, if I end up grabbing one, maybe not this year, but, like, next year or the year after, that will probably end it. Like, that's probably where we'll end it. But maybe if we win it this year, who knows? I might just end it, a good 15-year dynasty. We'll just call it a day here. We've done a few seasons with Penn State, had some fun with it. So maybe if we win it this year, that'll be the end of it, and then I'll start something else. I'll start recording something else this weekend, and maybe we can have it, in the coming weeks. So, all right, but let's look at the schedule here. It's an easy schedule. Our out-of-conference schedule is complete cupcake, and I actually kind of like it here. The at UTEP is gross. I'd rather go at Baylor. That makes more sense to go at Baylor. I mean, none of these make sense to be on the road at, but maybe we'll just keep it. Why not? We'll do the sicko thing and visit UTEP. Go to El Paso. Why not? But the out-of-conference here. So we have UTEP, I believe, out of the WAC at this time, I think. Louisiana Monroe to the Sun Belt. Baylor, of course, out of the Big 12. And then Navy, the Independent. Navy was really bad last year. I think Baylor's been bad. Louisiana Monroe, of course, has been bad as well. So this out-of-conference schedule is very easy. And then our conference schedule is actually going to get difficult. So Wisconsin's coming in ranked. Then, of course, Ohio State's coming in as the number 1 team in the country, which I disagree with because their recruiting was really bad. So maybe their roster, what they still have, is like really good. But still, recruiting typically affects how good where you're at. So I think we finished 5th last year, and we're starting off 5th this year as well. So I don't know if I agree with that, but either way, one of those teams might also get ranked. Iowa might get hot, get ranked, but our conference schedule is probably as easy as it possibly could be in the Big Ten right now. Both Minnesota, Northwestern, Indiana, and Michigan State want to combine like 10 games last year, so it's really easy. So we're actually probably going to keep it the way that it is, and we're just going to roll with it. We're going to run it. We'll let the game red shirt on its own. I'm going to look over the coaching options once again before we run the sim because I think I'm gonna up sub more a little bit on both, and we'll see how that works. Yeah, we're gonna check and see how that works. I'm gonna take down our aggressiveness on offense, maybe see if that protects the ball a little bit more. But that's the only thing I'm looking to change here. So, okay, then with that, I think we're good to save, and I'm gonna run the sim now. Well, I guess Western Michigan was the real deal Holyfield because they have a Heisman winner on their team and their quarterback balled out. Look at this, dude. That dude balled out. So Western Michigan is the real deal here. So and TCU is also still in Conference USA in this game. So that is 3 mid-major players all receiving Heisman votes. That is absolute insanity. But so is our season. Our season is insanity. So we're heading back to the Capital One Bowl. We're playing Georgia again. Not the results we wanted. But we'll go through it here. It's kind of a weird mixed bag. I did mention a lot before I ran the sim that I think this team might be a year away. I mean, 10-2 I guess is transitional for us, but this is like typical Penn State stuff, dude. It really is. I mean, it really is. So let's look over the schedule real quick. So of course we blow out UTEP and Louisiana Monroe, who both were awful this year. Baylor actually was better than I expected. They were off to a hot start. It started off 4-0, got inside the top 15. It managed to upset us at home. Managed to come in to Happy Valley and upset us here, and we took our first loss of the year. Kind of derailed our year, but because it was an out-of-conference loss, and we still had the whole year in front of us, we still absolutely had a chance to still kind of be in the conversation. We even climbed our way back up to 5th by beating Minnesota here, who was bad, beating Wisconsin, who was ranked at the time of this game, ended up having kind of a not-so-great year. Purdue was also ranked during this game. Purdue was ranked when we played this game, and they ended up having a horrendous year. We need to look at that schedule. Ended up beating up on Navy, who was also really bad, and then beat up on Iowa, who ended up having a decent year as well. They might have been ranked at the time, I can't remember. And then, of course, we lose to Ohio State by a point. Ohio State gets a revenge here, comes into Happy Valley, and hands us our second loss of the year. They finished 11-1, so obviously they win the Big Ten, and they're looking probably to repeat, probably to go back and repeat. So I haven't flipped through the roster this year. It has to be really freaking good, dude, because last year it shocked me how good it was. So maybe they returned a lot of those guys. I don't know, man, because there's no way. I mean, just nuts. Northwestern had a horrendous year. The bottom finally came out for them. Indiana won a couple more games than they did last year, so that's good for them. And then Michigan State also had a terrible year. So that puts us at 10-2, sending us back to the Capital One Bowl to play the Georgia Bulldogs for the second time in this sim. So we finished ranked 8th in the country here, and I mean, I guess it's not really a secret, so I guess we'll look through, we'll look at the BCS bowl rankings and see exactly where everyone is. I mean, maybe you guys want to be kept in the dark about who exactly is up, against it, but oh no, I just saw it. Oh no, my God. Oh my God. There's no way. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? What is this? Air Force. There's 2 Mid-Mountain West teams. 3rd and 4th. What is this? Oh my God. Who was Ohio State's one loss, first of all? Because it wasn't in conference. So who's their one loss? And then, oh my God, dude. We're going to look. Kansas State's still up here again, man. Just cannot avoid losing 2 games for some reason. They'd probably reach new heights if they could avoid losing 2 games. Virginia Tech here losing 2 games as well. Wake Forest finally put it all back together, winning the ACC again, but still, that one loss, dude, is really hurting them. I guess the ACC's prestige, even in this game, is not that great. So, okay, hold on. We're going to look at some schedules just for fun. So really the only big thing here is the out-of-conference for Western, I guess. They beat up on South Carolina, had a shootout, who had a terrible year, completely halved their wins from last year. Awful fall-off for South Carolina. Beat Florida, who's always typically pretty bad in these sims. So 2 SEC victories right here. Beat up on the same UTEP team that we did, so that's not great. Beat up on Minnesota, so a Big Ten victory. So 3 P6 victories for Western Michigan, probably doing a lot of heavy lifting for them. And then outside of that, that's really, the rest of it's just their conference slate. So I'm not seeing a whole lot to be number 1 in the country, but sure, 13-0, win the MAC, why not? And then we got to look at Ohio State's. Okay, so Ohio State picked up a Big 12 victory against A&M here, then picked up another Big 12 victory against Missouri, picked up a Big East win against Pitt, lost to Kent State. What on earth, man? What is happening? This game's not real. This game just isn't real. Oh my God. What are we doing? Oh, whatever. I love NCAA04. It is just beautifully chaotic and makes 0 sense. It is just great. It is amazing. Oh my god. Alright, so I'm going to end it here. This video's long enough. They keep getting longer. I'm sorry. So we might have another year or so in us here, but when we come back, we will be playing Georgia in the Capital One Bowl. Thank you guys so much for watching. Still watching these long videos. I'm sorry. I have a lot of fun making them, but hopefully we can wrap this thing up in the next year or two and then get started to something else, man. I've had a lot of fun with it, but hopefully we can get another bowl victor here, maintain the production here, and get a much better team out there next year. But that's all in the next video, so I hope to see you guys there in the next video in the Capital One Bowl.